Welcome to this explainer. We're diving straight into a massive paradigm shift happening right now at the very intersection of artificial intelligence and law enforcement. Today, we're taking a really close look at our source material to unpack this wild transition from human policing to mechanical enforcement, and how tech is literally racing forward to redefine our whole concept of justice.
Picture this. It's midnight. You step out onto the street, and the city is just bathed in the neon glow of skyscrapers. But instead of the traditional heavy boots of a human beat cop hitting the pavement, you hear this soft, steady hum of titanium alloy treads. A machine with glowing digital eyes sweeps the alleyway, scanning for anomalies.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is just a sci-fi movie. A few years ago, you'd be right, but not anymore. We are standing at the absolute dawn of the era of robot police, the Silicon Sentinels. And it forces us to ask a really critical question about the future of our streets. What actually happens when the badge is worn by a machine? It's this complex cocktail of extraordinary benefits and, honestly, some genuinely daunting challenges.
So, let's break down this dawn of the robot police and look at why this shift is happening in the first place.
Well, to get why automation is taking over, we have to look at the stark contrast between human frailties and mechanical absolutes. Bringing robots into police forces isn't just about looking futuristic. It's driven entirely by our own human limitations. I mean, human officers need sleep, right? They can be vulnerable to subjective biases or bribes, and they face severe physical danger every day. Silicon Sentinels, they offer 24/7 monitoring, zero corruption, and absolutely no bias.
Which brings us to what the sources call the incorruptible shield. Let's look at the utopian argument for why machines might just be the perfect enforcers of the law.
The source material lays out these 5 unyielding advantages that are really driving the push for automated police forces. Let's quickly break down these core arguments to understand the massive appeal of a mechanical force when it comes to strict law enforcement.
There's this great phrase from the sources that just hits the nail on the head: robot rishwet nihilete, which translates to robots do not take bribes. It addresses the elephant in the room, doesn't it? Humans are flawed. Temptation, greed, pressure, it happens. But you cannot slip a $20 bill into a metallic palm to make a speeding ticket disappear. Operating strictly on algorithms guarantees absolute transparency. And then, think about the stamina factor. During a 3 a.m. graveyard shift, human fatigue is real. Reflexes dull, awareness drops. But without the need for sleep or a coffee break, these sentinels can just keep patrolling. Armed with thermal imaging, facial recognition, acoustic sensors, they monitor every single street corner, every second of the year. This drastically lowers emergency response times. They're processing massive amounts of data in literal milliseconds to spot criminals instantly.
Plus, AI offers something truly revolutionary: blind, unbiased justice. Human officers might harbor biases, conscious or unconscious, based on all sorts of societal factors. But a robot, it operates with zero human bias. It doesn't care about your background, your status, nothing. To a machine, a law is a law, and everyone is absolutely equal before the code.
But for sure, the most undeniable benefit here is high-risk safety. Police work is dangerous. Deploying machines into life-or-death situations like defusing bombs, active shooters, violent riots ensures that human lives and law enforcement are spared. We can put machines on the front line and drastically reduce human casualties.
Okay, but we have to swing the pendulum back now, because handing the monopoly of violence over to machines, that brings up a dystopian reality, starting with the empathy deficit.
Our sources identify 3 terrifying vulnerabilities that come with silicon justice: the empathy deficit, the hacking risk, and the technical glitch. Any one of these represents a critical, potentially fatal failure point in automated policing.
Starting with that empathy deficit. Look, a robot has a processor, but it does not have a heart. They completely lack human emotion. A robot cannot feel pity for a desperate teenager or a distraught parent. A human cop might assess the situation and say, "Hey, I get it, here's a warning." A robot is bound strictly by binary logic. It sees only a violation. This cold, mechanical enforcement could very easily turn our cities into incredibly sterile, unforgiving environments.
And then we face the ultimate cyber threat. What happens when the protector actually becomes the weapon? If a skilled cybercriminal, or even a hostile foreign entity, manages to hack the central system, the consequences are almost unthinkable. We could see an entire autonomous fleet turn rogue, lock down a city, and target innocent citizens on command. Securing thousands of armed autonomous units against hacking, that is a relentless uphill battle.
Actually, even without malicious hackers, the code itself can just fail. To err is human, sure, but a machine's technical glitch could lead to tragic, aggressive actions against completely innocent people. Imagine a software bug in the AI's visual recognition that misidentifies a harmless umbrella as a deadly weapon. System errors can result in harsh penalties imposed on people who have absolutely no recourse to argue with a machine.
So, that brings us to the real crossroads here. Coexistence or control? Are we looking at an ultimate solution to crime or a dystopian nightmare waiting to happen?
Well, the reality likely lands somewhere right in the middle, pushing us toward a hybrid model known as cobotics, collaborative robotics. This means human officers actively working alongside AI-driven mechanical partners rather than being entirely replaced by them.
It's all about playing to strengths. This builds a system where machines enforce the physical rules while humans provide the ethical judgment. Humans bring the empathy, the ethical nuance, the emotional intelligence, and the robots? They provide the physical strength, the analytical accuracy, the uncorruptibility, and that protective shield. It's a pretty amazing synthesis of our best traits and their best capabilities.
Because ultimately, as this incredibly poignant quote from the source material reminds us, robots can enforce the law, but only humans can understand justice. True justice requires a human heart, you know? It requires the ability to look at the context of a situation and apply not just the letter of the law, but the spirit of it.
So, as we step into this brave new world together, I want to leave you with this vital question to ponder. How do we balance these advanced algorithms with our human values, ensuring we don't accidentally trade our humanity just for safety? The badge of the future will definitely be powered by code, but it absolutely must remain anchored to our shared human values. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this gives you a brand new lens through which to view the future of our streets.